Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Comic Book Quickies. For those of you paying attention, in the first video I did say I was going to do one of these videos every couple of days, and then I caught a bad cold and nobody wants to see that. So I have not recorded since that first video, but I'm back and ready to go with a lot of stuff to catch up on. What I want to talk about today is DC Universe Rebirth. I know there's some glare on here, but you can see that pretty well, I guess. Rebirth, the Rebirth event started about 6 or 7 months ago, and it's the latest reboot of the DC Universe, and this is the one shot that started the whole thing. It's written by Jeff Johns, and there's a bunch of different artists on here. You've got Gary Frank, Ethan Van Sciver, Ivan Reis, Phil Jimenez, and then your inkers and colorists and such. But just a bunch of different authors, or artists, excuse me, in here. And this, as I said, reboots the DC Universe again. They seem to do it a lot. But so far, it seems they seem to be doing a pretty good job. What goes on in here, you have Wally West, the original Wally West. He's trapped in the Speed Force. He's trying to get back into the regular universe, and he's kind of going from person to person trying to find help. And what they do once everything gets figured out, I don't want to give too much away, but it sort of resets the clock for the DC Universe by about 10 years, I think, comic book time. So what you end up with is a lot of things sort of set backwards. Relationships have changed. A lot of things that have happened have no longer happened. But I think, from what I can tell, because I have been out of the comic books for a few years, this is what brought me back. But it seems like some of the characters and things that did happen in that 10-year time are still around, but a lot of things are different, sort of, as I said, reset, gone back. And there's at the end, there's a big surprise that kind of sort of explains what's been going on, why the things that happened that are sort of changed now, why they happened. I don't want to give it away, but this is the book that sets everything in motion. This is the regular issue. It was only $2.99 for a pretty thick book. There's a deluxe edition that has come out, and I just saw the hardback at Barnes and Noble, and it's like $18. It's the exact same story, from what I understand. No new story, no new pages to this, but a lot of behind the scenes stuff, character designs, and all sorts of cool stuff. $18 was a little more than I wanted to spend. If it comes out in a paperback, a more affordable edition, I may pick it up because I like that behind the scenes stuff. But if you just want the story here, again, show some of that artwork, you can pick this up. And then one of the other things they did, I'm going to talk about a lot of the titles in other videos, but I want to cover this a little bit really quickly here. Each series, I think 90%, if not more, of each series got its own Rebirth one-shot. I've got a bunch right here, and these are the series I did not continue reading. I picked up all the one-shots, but just to sample, there's Batman. So the one-shots will have the character up here, and then Rebirth real big down here, and then you'll see in my next video, the regular series says Rebirth up here, and then the character, the title down here. That's Batman. We've got things like Blue Beetle and Deathstroke, all sorts of stuff. Like I said, these are the ones I did not continue to get. Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps. I do like these covers a lot. Suicide Squad right there. You got Supergirl. I'm not showing you everything, just a few of them. So I did pick up all of these just to get a taste for what they were doing. And basically, for the most part, what they've done in these one-shots is sort of give you a history of the character as well as point you in the direction that the character is going. So you get an idea of where they came from. Excuse me, there's some rehashing of origins, and then sort of introducing what the big next storyline is going to be. So there's, you can see I got quite a few there that I chose not to follow. And when it came to these DC titles, there were some that I was absolutely going to pick up, just the characters I liked. And then there were some, these one-shots surprised me, so I decided to continue on with those characters. But that's basically where we start with DC Universe Rebirth. And the reason I want to get this done, and I'm going to try to do a lot of these videos pretty quickly in the next week or so, is because we're at the point now, as I said, it's been about 6 or 7 months, the first collected volumes for each of these titles are coming out now. I saw 3 or 4 of them at Barnes & Noble the other day, and in the current comics there's a list of what's coming out. So for the next 4 months, or January and then the next 3 months, all of these first collected volumes are coming out. So I want to sort of get this out there in case I can pique anyone's interest and you might want to pick something up. So that's basically what DC Universe Rebirth is doing, resetting the clock, resetting the universe. It's definitely, from what I've heard, because as I said, I've been out of it for a little bit, but it's definitely lighter, is what I'm hearing. They went a little dark, apparently, with some of the stuff, and this sort of, it definitely feels like old DC, and I'll get into that a little more as I get into each title. So my next few videos, I don't think I'm gonna, I might throw some Marvel in here and there, just to break things up, so it's not just all DC all the time. But the next few, I'm going to talk about the first storylines, and I'm going to, I think, double up. At least I'll have probably 2 comics that I talk about in each video. There's a couple where I might throw 3 in there. I should say titles, as opposed to individual comic books. But that's it for this comic book quickie, DC Universe Rebirth. I recommend it. There is, I think there's a sort of an omnibus that you can get that has this, and I think maybe a bunch, if not all of these. So if you don't want to spend 18 bucks just for a hardback copy of this with some special features, you can get the omnibus that has this and I believe a bunch of these one-shots. So you can check that out. All this stuff should be available. Like I said, the first volumes are coming out, so if you missed out on the individual issues, your local comic book store doesn't have them, you can pick up the collected editions. So that's it. DC Universe Rebirth for this comic book quickie, and that's all I've got, so I'll see you next time.